Dear listeners, tonight I invite you to sit back, turn off your lights, and imagine a place where the mist never quite lifts. A village cradled by endless rice paddies and the ancient, bottomless Lotus Lake. This is the story of a girl named Mai, a red thread, and a night that changed everything. You see, I grew up in a village not unlike Bin Ha. The elders there would tell you that water remembers. It remembers every secret, every sorrow, and every promise broken. Lotus Lake, in particular, was a mirror for the sky by day, a black abyss by night. No one dared swim after sunset. If you must pass by, walk quietly, and do not look at your reflection, lest something beneath decide it likes the shape of your soul. My grandmother, a quiet woman with laughter like wind chimes, was the keeper of our family's stories. She would sit by the kitchen fire and tell me, "Mai, remember this. At the lake, never touch what isn't yours, especially if it is red." Of course, when you are young, warnings feel like invitations. It was festival season when this happened, the time when lanterns shaped like lotuses are sent drifting onto the water as offerings for luck, love, and the spirits. The entire village comes alive, red and gold banners flutter, drums echo into the dusk, and the scent of sticky rice cakes floats in the air. It is a night meant for celebration, but it is also a night when the boundary between worlds is thinnest. The old people call it Dem Ram, the full moon night. That year I was 17, proud, clever, and sure the city awaited me just beyond the horizon. My best friend Lynn was the opposite, gentle and believing, the sort to leave small gifts at every shrine. She was chosen as a lantern bearer that year, a role of honor, leading the first row of children around the lake. I too carried a lantern, feeling equal parts excitement and impatience. In my pocket, I carried a talisman my grandmother had slipped me that morning, a coin strung on faded red thread. "Keep this with you," she said, pressing it into my palm. "It belonged to your mother." As night fell, mist rolled across the lake like a living thing, blurring the edges of the world. The villagers' voices seemed to come from far away, lantern light shimmering across the water's surface. I remember feeling the weight of the talisman in my pocket, a comfort against the gathering dark. We set out along the lake shore, dozens of lanterns bobbing on thin bamboo poles, laughter echoing through the reeds. At the water's edge, Lynn pulled me aside. "Mai, you must promise me something," she whispered, eyes shining in the lantern glow. "If you see a red thread, turn away. Don't follow it." Last year, my cousin, he vanished at the festival. They searched for days, only found a red thread trailing from the dock into the water. I forced a smile, but Lynn's words followed me like a shadow. As the night deepened, the crowd thinned, the children ran ahead, their voices swallowed by fog. I found myself alone, drawn to the water's edge by the soft sway of lotus blossoms. My lantern flickered as I knelt beside the reeds, lost in thought. That was when I saw it, a slender red thread, gleaming wetly in the moonlight, wound around a lotus stem, the end trailing into darkness. It seemed harmless, beautiful even. Surely it was just a stray piece of festival ribbon. But something in my bones remembered the warnings. Still, I reached out and touched it. The air changed instantly. The festival's music faded, replaced by the low hum of insects and the sigh of the wind. My lantern dimmed until only the red thread glowed bright, leading away from shore, inviting me deeper. I stood and followed, the thread winding through the reeds, over mud slick and stones cold as the dead. The world grew silent, as if the night itself was holding its breath. The thread led me to an old pier I'd never noticed before. There, standing at its edge, was a woman dressed in a white AO dye, long hair unbound, feet bare against the rotting wood. The night air was icy, yet she seemed untouched. She did not turn as I approached, but I could see her shoulders shake. Was she crying or simply shivering? In her hand, she held the other end of the red thread. "Why do you follow me?" Her voice was soft, drifting like mist. "Why do you bring light into my night?" I meant to answer, but my mouth was dry. The thread tightened around my fingers, and I felt a coldness seep up my arm. I wanted to run, but my feet were rooted to the spot. She turned, her face pale as the moon, eyes deep as Lotus Lake itself. There was beauty there, but also sorrow so ancient it made my chest ache. "Do you know why I wait here, child?" she whispered. My voice trembled. "I don't know. I didn't mean to." A sad smile. "Long ago I waited on this dock for my beloved. who never returned. On our wedding night, he vanished beneath these waters. In my grief, I tied a red thread around my wrist, hoping it would bring him back. But now the thread leads only the lonely, the curious, the ones who don't heed warnings. The fog thickened, and suddenly I saw them, pale faces in the water, eyes wide and unblinking, red threads tied to their wrists, floating just below the surface. A sudden pain flared in my hand. The thread had begun to bleed into my skin, wrapping tighter with every heartbeat. The ghost bride stepped closer. "Come with me, child. The water is cold, but you will never be alone. Let the thread bind you, as it has bound all who came before." Her voice was sweet and terrible. I felt myself leaning forward, as if gravity itself wished to drag me under. But then I remembered my grandmother's talisman. With the last of my strength, I clutched it, whispering every prayer I'd ever heard at the shrine. The thread burned, the pain nearly unbearable. The woman's eyes grew wild. "No!" she shrieked, reaching for me, fingers twisting like roots. "You must join us. The thread is never broken." But just as her hand brushed my cheek, a new sound cut through the night. A voice, clear and strong, calling my name from the shore. "Mai, come home, child. Do not follow her. Break the thread." It was my grandmother. I looked at the talisman, the thread now glowing red-hot against the cool silver of the coin. I summoned all my will and yanked the talisman, snapping the thread. The world exploded in a scream, the mist swirling violently as the ghost bride's form dissolved into 1,000 lotus petals scattered across the water. The faces beneath the lake faded, replaced by nothing but ripples. I collapsed, weeping, the threads burned still vivid on my wrist. When I came to, dawn was breaking. Lynn found me by the water's edge, her face streaked with tears. "I searched for you all night," she said, pulling me close. "I thought the lake had taken you." We walked home together. My grandmother waited, her eyes red but shining with relief. She tended my burned hand and told me softly, "You were very brave, but even the brave must respect the old ways." Later, as I drifted into exhausted sleep, I dreamt of the lake, still, quiet, and for the first time in my memory, peaceful. On the surface, a single red lotus floated, and beside it, a broken thread. Years passed, but I never forgot that night. I left Bin Ha for the city, built a life of my own. But whenever the moon is full and mist gathers, I dream of Lotus Lake, of sorrow and hope bound together by a crimson thread. So, dear listener, if you ever find yourself walking by water on a festival night, and you see a flash of red among the reeds, turn away, do not follow. For in every village, some old stories are not just warnings, they are memories waiting to pull you under.